Okay, so Anthony, we're going to do something a little different. For the Disc Golf Answer Man, I'm going to start the episode by saying this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man is brought to you. So that's going to be recorded. And then when I'm done saying that, you'll go to the Disc Golf Answer Man music, and then I'll say...
Oh, will I?
Oh, well. I mean, if you want to keep your job. So, but if,
Dang. The stakes are high.
I'm free. I'm
so that intro... music, and then it'll go into, hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disco. Does that make sense?
Do you want me to do that now or just in the post?
No, in the post.
Okay.
Yeah, in the post.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember, YouTube's, you guys are part of the recording of the audio podcast. It's not all about you.
It's mostly about you.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Are we recording?
We sure are.
Okay. This episode of the Disc Golf Man. Yep.
So is this where I put the music?
Yes, right.
Dude.
All right, here we go.
Nailed it. One take.
This episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man is brought to you by the Dynamic Discs Lucid Chameleon Trespass 2020 Pro Worlds Championships fundraiser. 2020 Pro World Pro. You're gonna edit this together.
Okay. Yeah.
2020 Pro Worlds is quickly approaching, and we've got some special discs in special plastics to commemorate the upcoming showdown in Ogden, Utah.
Showdown.
The Trespass is back, and it looks better than ever in the Studying Chameleon study. This is gonna take some. I should have practiced this.
Do you want me to do it?
No.
Okay.
The Trespass is back. Now you've got me really flustered because you're ticking me off. We're gonna start over with the 2020. 2020 Pro Worlds is quickly approaching, and we've got some special discs and special plastics to commemorate the upcoming showdown in Ogden, Utah. The Trespass is back, and it looks better than ever in the stunning chameleon plastic. Pick up a couple and prepare for reliable overstability without sacrificing good looks. Music.
Showdown.
All right, here we go.
One take, first try. That's like all of Zach Melton's practice videos.
Yeah, exactly.
First try.
First try.
Made it first try.
All right, now we'll get to the normal. You ready? Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and I have with me Robert Crybaby McCall. Oh, that's your contacts.
Words.
He just put little squirts of contact juice in his eye.
Some people call that eye drops.
Really? Where I buy it, they call it contact juice.
Pardon
me.
Is
that bad?
Pardon me. May I have some contact juice? No, my eyes just get a little bit dry. Just need a little breather.
Anyway, it's another episode of Disc Golf Answer Man, episode 305. It's me and Robert McCall here. Eric McCabe is on assignment, off to design a course. He didn't post anything about the location on his Instagram, so I'm not sure we can mention it.
I don't think so.
What is so funny now?
Words. Why'd I do that?
Why'd I do that?
Hey, why'd I do that?
Okay, so I know you guys. Some of you guys don't like it when we get off topic, but so if you listened to the episode last week, you know that
the title of one of the questions.
Right was why it says why do they do that?
No, it was why they do that.
Why they do that.
Yeah.
And it made me think of the comedian Keenan Thomas. He has a skit. Thompson. He has a skit on SNL.
This is like
I'm a full-time fact checker at this point.
Yes, you have to be around me.
You're like that guy who translates for Obama.
Yeah, the anger translator. Yes.
The Cool Daddy Slick Breeze translator.
That's me.
I need it. You know, if you guys listen to the show,
I'm here for it.
So anyway, it made me think of what up with that. So I said,
what up with that?
So anyway, so that became a thing. Well, we were in church, and, and of course in church, the pastor's up, giving his sermon, and you're paying attention, and I feel my phone vibrate, and I'm thinking, don't check your what?
Preface.
Oh.
The preacher had just quoted the great theologian quotes. Darius Rucker of Hootie and the Blowfish.
Right.
And he said, time, why is it so that this and that? I don't remember the exact quote, but it just sounded like time, why. Yeah.
Why something.
So he said some of that.
So then I feel the phone vibrate, and I think I can't check my phone at church. And then it get, it's like, okay, I'm going to check it real quick. I look, and it's a text from Robert. It says, time. Why they do that?
Why they do that? Got him.
Of course, in my head, I said it just like that. Why they do that? I had to turn my head and look to make sure people didn't see. I almost busted out laughing. So anyway, So
I
good
considered
times.
it a success.
So why they do that? All right,
So Eric is on assignment. We don't know where.
yeah, sorry. Somewhere. I digress.
Mystery
I
location.
digress. So we're here for episode 305 of the Disc Golf Answer Man. Of course, at the beginning, you heard us talk about the Lucid Chameleon Trespass. Make sure you go out to. They look really sweet. They have a really cool DD stamp on there with. It's on the home page, the front page. Yeah, with the little D's on there. It says Pro Worlds and real cool chameleon plastic. So make sure you check that out. Well, after all that, I think people deserve a disc golf question. What do you think?
Nah. Yeah, okay, yes.
Guys, make sure you go to discgolfanswerman.com, go to the submit a disc golf question. We will try to get them on the air. You can do the Google form or send it through SpeakPipe, and we will listen to it on the air. This first one is from Jeff Austin. Jeff says, weightless jumping. Ooh.
Wow.
He's coming straight at it already. How often does the status, popularity, puts in parentheses, of a player's influence whether or not they are granted entry into a tournament if they didn't sign up in time? I wonder. Oh, yeah. I watched the interview with Drew Gibson after a debate online, and it got me thinking. If Paul or Ricky doesn't sign up for a tournament on time, should they be able to cut in front of everyone on the waitlist due to their status? What do the rules say about waitlists and how TDs should handle them? So if you're not sure what he's talking about, there was a video that Johnny Disc Golf did where he interviewed Drew Gibson from Vegas, was it, or Memorial?
This was Memorial.
And Drew had talked about all kinds of stuff, but one of the things he had talked about was that he didn't get into the Glass One Open, and he admitted that he was ill prepared when it came to signing up for the Glass One Open. But he was trying to say, hey, Jeremy Rusko, I'll do a kids clinic, and if you can get me into the event. And so that started a debate in the comments that, like, hey, dude, if you don't sign up, you can't just, almost kind of like, who do you think you are? You should get signed up. You should get signed up in time. If you didn't, then you're out. Well, some people said, no, this is Drew Gibson. He's touring. He does this for a living. They should be able to get in. I disagree with those people. The PDGA has set up with us a tiered registration where and this isn't any a slight against Drew Gibson at all. I'm not slighting him. I don't know his situation. I don't know why he did or did not sign up on time. Well, why
he did talk about that in the interview.
Oh, what did he say?
He said it was when his tier was eligible to register, whatever he's rated, 10, 20 or something, was when he was between sponsors. And so he said, I could just register now and then have my sponsor reimburse me, but just because of you never know how contracts are going to work out, I'm just going to wait until I figure everything out with my sponsor, or in his case, sponsors, and then I'll register. So he registered when he had a sponsor willing and able to pay for it.
Sure.
So he was kind of in a weird situation, but he did recognize himself that, okay, he could have taken steps to avoid.
Right, and that's the thing is he wasn't like trying to call anybody out, or he wasn't trying to, or at least it maybe didn't feel like from the section that he wasn't like being like, that's stupid of us to not let him in. But I got to say, to your question, Stephen, or I'm sorry, next to whoever
Jeffrey,
I think. Anyway, Anthony already deleted the question, but anyway, to your question is no, I don't think that. Huh?
You deleted the question.
I did not.
I'm giving you a hard
I'm like, wait a minute. I know that much.
I'm messing with you.
Anyway, no, I don't think the top people should be allowed any exceptions when it comes to registering. I get that life happens, but life happens to everybody. I get that this is their job, but I mean, how many times do you have to change the rules, or how many times do you have to make an exception for things like that?
Yeah, and I understand, and it's totally Drew's prerogative to ask, like to say, I think one of the things he offered to a couple of tournaments was, hey, I'll come and do a clinic for you for free if you'll let me into the event. Cool. Not a problem for him to ask at all. But if the TD says they can't do it, then they can't do it.
Right, so, then they've got to understand that.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, it sounded like you did. Now, to answer your question, I can understand from a TD's perspective how it would be good to have more notable players in your event.
Yeah.
And so if they make that decision, I'm not going to say that I'm 100% going to hold it against them and say that's the wrong decision. But I don't like it if it's an event that I'm in charge of. To be fair, I haven't run any events, but if I was in charge of that event, I cannot imagine that I would go by anything other than waitlist order to let people in.
So. Yeah, because now do you take the lowest rated guy and then just say,
Sure.
oh, sorry, Drew Gibson wants to sign
Or,
up. Paul
well,
Macbeth wants to sign up.
I think probably what he's asking is, okay, somebody drops and it doesn't autofill from the wait list. You could just kind of move him up to the top
Sure.
of the, I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I guess.
All right, next question comes from Steve, and his subject is hitting lines.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about some line abuse. What are some ways to practice hitting your lines? I have a tournament coming up that has some extremely tight gaps to hit, and I want to be sure I can hit them with more than just luck. I can practice aiming for a target or throwing between some subjects, but that usually just shows me that I can hit the line and that I can be far from the line. I want a practice session to actually help me dial in my accuracy. Besides just trying to hit a target line, what are some ways I can help reinforce the good throws and start minimizing the errant shots? I would like to be able to come away from a practice session at least a little more accurate than when I started. Thanks.
I think you're off to a good start by practicing in a field or throwing between objects or something like that. Because if you if you don't have a really tight course to practice on, you kind of have to simulate it, right? I'd say the best thing that you can do is be confident when you're throwing through those gaps, because I think if you're tentative, you're more likely to either early release or hold on to it too long and miss on the right side. And so I would say practice throwing through those objects, and then one extra thing that you can do is videotape yourself while you're doing it. So set up your iPhone, set up your smartphone. If you have a camera, cool. Set that up and then only throw, 5 shots at a time. And when you hit one really good one and you're like, okay, that's it, go back and look at that throw and see if it's different from any of your other ones, right? See if you fired your hips at a different time. See if you brought the disc into kind of your power pocket at the right time. Just see if there's anything that you can notice that maybe you can say, look, this is a good thing to concentrate on. This is a good thing that I need to think about when I'm throwing again. So that's something to think about.
Excellent. We got some speak pipe. We should have some left over from last week even.
We got a bunch.
Okay, cool.
This one comes to us from Charlie.
Charlie bit my finger.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man crew. This is Chooch Charlie outside of Philadelphia. Got a question for you. Kind of foot fault, kind of OB. This comes to rest inbounds, right at the OB line. And in order to take a stance, I would need to stand out of bounds. Just barely enough room for a foot there maybe. Well, I know that I can get a meter relief off of the OB line, but what if taking any more relief is going to give me a worse lie? And I really just want to play it as it lies. So am I allowed to stand OB, plant my foot inbounds behind the disc, and then lift my out-of-bounds foot and take my shot? So just kind of imagine a putt shot or kind of a bounce and release. So to be clear, I'm fully inbounds when I release the disc, but when I'm taking my stance and getting ready, I'm standing 1 foot out of bounds. Hope that's not confusing, and keep it real.
So in a sense, he's going to start out with 1 foot out of bounds, but when he'll lift 1 foot right as he releases the disc.
It's the same way that some people, like, if there's a wide hyzer, but you can only really get it from throwing off the back of the box or just running up to the side of the box, it's the same way that some people will do that. It's legal, but you have to be extremely careful when you do it. If I were you, I would probably tell my card what I was doing so that they would – I think their natural inclination would be to say – you have 1 foot inbounds, 1 foot out of bounds. If they're not watching for me to pick up that back foot, I think they'd be more likely to be like, well, your foot was out of bounds. So yeah, you threw from out of bounds. So if you say, hey, I'm going to throw from this spot in bounds, this foot is fully in bounds, but I'm going to pick my foot up before I do it. Please watch for that and make sure that it's correct. I think you're more likely to have your card agree with you at that point if you tell them what you're going to do. Otherwise, man, it's hard to say whether 2 feet makes that big of a difference on a lie. But if it was me, I would just take it in, deal with good footing with both feet on the ground, and have to throw a little bit different angle, I think, if it was me.
Yeah, if you think about, like, Yuli, how he step putts, It's the same thing but backwards.
Oh yeah.
Where he steps past his mini, he just doesn't put his foot down yet.
Right.
It's the same thing, just he's picking up his foot.
I guess
legally
unless it was a putt, the rule of showing balance doesn't kick into play, right?
No,
Right?
yeah.
Unless it was a
if
putt.
you're outside the circle, you can do
Right,
whatever.
you
You can fall down
can
if you
fall
want.
follow
yeah.
through past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Just a reminder, we have our Birdie Fuel disc that we're going to give away thanks to Birdie Fuel. For our YouTubers, you can see this beautiful harp, tournament plastic harp with a sweet hand-dye Birdie Fuel stamp on it. And we got a couple of minis we're going to give away to some lucky people. So if you paid attention last week, we had a form for you to fill out, and we have quite a few people that filled out the form. Here in a little bit before the end of this episode, we will draw names and then reach out to those people to send these sweet discs. So thanks again to Birdie Fuel for that. Next question comes from
Super fast from the chat. Daniel
what's up?
says, "Can you speak to why it's illegal to throw from OB to begin with?" So,
yeah, why they do that?
throwing from OB, why they do that? I can't point to it in the rules. At least not off the top of my head, I can't say like this is the specific rule, but I know that all supporting points have to be inbounds or on the teeing area when you throw, right? So if you are standing at all out of bounds, I mean, that's
how all sports
it's just any
work.
other sport,
Yeah,
unless it's an inbound like basketball. But
Sure, but you can't shoot from out of bounds.
Yeah,
And be like, well, what I made
that's
it.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, if you're in the middle of the play and you step out of bounds, it's out of bounds. Same with football. Same with, pretty much anything else. And so you can't stand out of bounds because that area has been marked as where you can't play from. It's outside the boundary of where you can play. That's why you can't have a supporting point there.
All right, next one comes from William Sinclair. He's curious about improving form and distance. Excuse me, this is a long question, so I had to clear my throat.
Let's do it.
I've been playing for a few years, and though I take the sport seriously, I'd classify myself as a rec player. While I've improved in other areas, my distance has plateaued at 300 feet. I have a good grasp of what I need to do to improve. I simply struggle to implement it. This is mostly due to the limited time I have to work on my form. Hearing all of you talk about your own skill sets got me thinking. As a thought experiment, if someone like Bobby decided to dedicate more time to increasing distance and worked with Eric or Danny to do it, what do you think his ceiling might be within 6 months of work? Is 400 feet beyond reach? I'm aware Bobby is happy where he is. I'm just curious what you think is possible for a player with a similar skills. Also, as a suggestion for future videos, it would be interesting to see Danny work with someone over time at the rec level. This would give viewers the chance to see a player develop by implementing the fundamentals taught in other videos. I think that's an idea that Danny has actually discussed. We haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but so what do you think? So going along with his thought experiment, if someone like me dedicated, you don't always have to say dedicated how much. Does that mean like a couple hours after work, or does that mean I quit my job and practice, I don't want to say nonstop because that'd kill my shoulder, but, let's say I quit my job and I said I'm going to go on tour, and in 6 months I want to be able to at least, I don't want to say be in top. I want to at least
cash.
Cash. That's a good way. If I want to say I want to at least cash at most, if not all, events that I travel to, be it A tiers, B tiers, or NTs and things like that. In 6 months, do you think that I can improve that way up to that?
To cashing on the national level?
Let's go with a couple of still having my full-time job, having a decent life on the weekends, but playing more often on the weekends and practicing a couple hours after work.
Never.
I don't think you'd come close.
Why?
No, because
Is that me or anybody that?
that is you and anybody.
Oh, okay.
It's not specific to you. I think there are very, very few people who can do what you just described in that scenario and make it at that level. There are some people who can.
All, or within the 6 months time?
There are some people within 6 months that could do that, but it would be, you're talking about a very small percentage who are super physically gifted and who disc golf just naturally comes to them. Yeah. So they have pure form. They have a good decision-making mindset when it comes to disc golf. They're good putters. Something like that is possible. However, that's a small percentage of disc golfers, right? If you feel like you're plateauing at a certain point, working on it is the best way to get you past that. But these sort of guys would be like unlimited skill ceiling type people. Like if you think of someone like Cam Colglazier, who he practices disc golf, but he works a lot, right? Like it seems like he's almost always at work, but he shows up to disc golf tournaments and plays exceptionally well. He has that sort of skill ceiling that's just, I mean, he could birdie every hole if he wanted to. But without putting in the hours and hours and hours, I think it's going to be difficult for someone to just ascend the ranks so quickly, having a full-time job and just practicing every once in a while.
Let me ask you that, and then this is kind of along the lines and kind of not along the lines. So, well, I'll come to that point here in a bit. But now, I guess back to the original thinking or question. So we have to admit that is disc golf at a point where, in order to be top 20 or top 30,
sure,
whatever, it's not just all work. There has to be some sort of a gift, or, for the lack of a better term, some sort of, elite athleticism, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I do. In order to get to that top little bit, it's not just wanting it, right? It's the same reason that people who go and audition for American Idol, they can practice for 8 hours a day and go in and just not be that good of a singer, because they just don't have that capability.
So you're equating the talent of singing to a level of athletic talent.
There's some innate level of physical ability,
which I agree. I'm just
needed to compete at the highest level. And that looks different for different people. Like, I'm not saying one sort of body shape. I'm not saying one type of strength. I'm saying there is some innate level of physical ability needed to compete at the highest level.
And that's why this is a side point, but that's why when I see motivational things where people say you can be whatever you want to be, there's actually there's like an asterisk to that.
Right.
I could not be, just because I wanted more than anything than life itself to be a NBA All-Star.
Right.
I could not do it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Well, not with that attitude.
Yeah. When you put it that way. Now, that's not to say that you can't improve, right? If you say you plateaued at like 300 feet and you really wanted to reach 400 feet, I think there are a lot of things you could do to give yourself the best chance to reach 400 feet. And that would be something like doing field work a lot, increasing your flexibility, working on your speed from the muscle, from like your major muscle groups, and then like your pulling muscles, right? You can work on those things to get better. But that's not to say that just because, like, okay, I would like to throw 500 feet, but just because I want to doesn't mean that I will at some point be able to. I think there's probably somewhere in the 250 to 300 range is a point where, if you train enough, I think almost everyone will be able to throw around that far. If you train, like if you want it enough, right? But once you start to get past that, once you start to get into the 400s, into the 500s, and especially into the 600s, there's some level of being able to tell your body what to do and tweak the smallest little things about your form that you have to be able to do in order to achieve that.
So, to my other point that I was alluded to earlier, you mentioned Cameron Colglazier.
Right.
Outstanding.
Right. Now, he's been at it for a while, but go ahead.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at is that if we look at the top, I keep throwing out numbers, top 15 players, whatever. Most of those people, maybe I'll be wrong in saying this, only play disc golf.
That disc golf is their job. That's
their job. Yeah.
Most of them. Yes, I agree.
Would you say that then the 16th through 25th ranked player who probably has a full-time job, if they were financially able to only do disc golf, would we see a shift in the top?
Depends on the player.
You know what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying, and it depends on the player.
And is that fair?
What? Life's not fair.
Right. Yeah.
But but no, I think we could go through the list of highest rated people and say this person only does disc golf, this person only does disc golf within reason.
Right.
But just because somebody is currently good and they wanted to go on tour, so they quit their job and focused on disc golf, they're probably going to improve. But to say that means they're going to get into the top 15 or top 20, that's not realistic. That's what I think.
Excellent. All right. Hey,
That's
guys.
that's a good question, by the way.
that's
And
an excellent
it's I think it's a common misnomer in disc golf that just because you want to do something means that you'll be able to do that. I want to go shoot 18 under at Jones East, and I have birdied every hole out there, but I'm probably not ever going to shoot 18 under because my skill is just not that great. You know, same for throwing 500 feet. Same for going to compete on the national scale. Like, I'm athletic enough. I could, if I quit my job and trained, sure, I could probably get up to like 10-15 or maybe 10-20, maybe 10-20. But averaging 10-20 is like low cash at this point. Maybe middle cash at these events. It takes more than just want. But I think you do have to want it in order to get up there.
All right, guys. We have a big tournament coming up here in the next month or so. How long do we have? Ooh, not very long. I'm speaking of the Glass Blown Open. I'm looking at registration here, and we actually still have some spots. I know a lot of people think that we sold out, but we are not sold out. We did some changes in the division to kind of open it up for some of the divisions so that we can allow more of the amateur divisions in. So I'm looking right now. There's actually 104 spots left in the amateur division. Some of those spots are MA1, MA2 maybe, I think. Let's see. FA1 has some spots. Anyway, in the amateur side of the A tier of Glass Blown Open, there are still some spots left, and there's still some time to get signed up and make some arrangements to stay with some people out here at the Glass Blown Open out here in Emporia, Kansas. So if you've been thinking, man, I've always wanted to come out to GBO, 2020 could be that year. Check it out. Disc Golf Scene, look up Glass Blown Open or go to glassblownopen.com. Whether you're coming or not, download the Glass Blown Open mobile app so you can be part of the experience.
Yeah. Quick super chat from Alex Eubanks. $2. He says, are you guys coming up for the Beaver State Fling?
Sorry, I do not have plans as of now to go there.
Don't think so this year. Doc's in, $2. He says $2 for Bobby's Pro Tour campaign. You are halfway there.
Halfway there. I just need
one more of those. And
$2 more, and I can survive.
Not. You've already cashed.
Chris Carpenter, $9.99. Sale on Super Chats today. Nice.
Oh, there's a sale?
I don't know if that's true, but I'm interested. And then Ryan says, now you're all the way there. Ryan says $2 for Bobby's bionic arm transplant. JK, love you, Bobo. Sounds like Shayson in that comment.
Oh, yes.
She calls him Bobo.
Bobo!
Bobo!
Whenever it's time to watch Survivor and they come home from something, all I hear is, Bobo!
Standard Shay.
All right. Next question comes from Alex. He says...
oh, nice. Thanks for the $2 and also for your question, Alex.
Oh, there you go. If you have a tournament to play and circumstances prevent a practice round, how do you recommend you play? I'm an intermediate golfer, so I'm not looking to birdie anything, but wonder how aggressive I can be and still play well.
Alex, we actually talked about this the last couple of weeks. I don't remember if it was this past episode.
This is more how do you practice, but I think more of how do you play super conservative since you're not sure, or do you play more aggressive? Or
if I had never seen a course at the intermediate level, I would get on every tee and think, how can I make par?
Yeah.
And then throw the shot that gives me the best chance at getting par. And if that gives me a shot at birdie, cool. And if I take a bogey, that's going to happen sometimes. But I am not getting on the tee and thinking, well, if I just hit this roller just perfect today, then maybe I get a shot at 2. If I see a 350-foot hole that I know I'm going to have to really stretch to reach, instead I'm going to throw my comfortable 270-foot shot. I'm going to jump putt my 80-foot jump putt and drop in for 3 and go on to the next hole. And somebody on my card's probably going to birdie that hole, but there's a chance somebody on my card's going to bogey that also. So for the first round, I would do that. For the second round, you can kind of take a few more risks now that you have felt that shot. So anyway.
All right,
that's funny. Alex said, you answered that for me last week. That's my question. No wonder we'd heard it before.
Was it the exact same question?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go, Alex. Double your pleasure.
But a little bit different answer this time, so you're welcome.
Yeah, so you never know what we're going to say. We may change our answer on the exact same question. Let me ask you this, though, even though I don't think this was brought up. Let's say you've got that strategy. You're going to walk up to every hole. You're going to assess it. You're going to say, how do I get a 3? You're going to ask somebody, hey, have you played this before? How do I get a 3? Let's say you're on hole 6. And you're 5 big.
You hate to see it.
Do you change your strategy or no?
I don't know. I don't.
Do you now get
No,
more
'cause if you
conservative?
finish-
Let's
if
be
you fin-
real. Let's be real.
if
You're
you
in the moment.
I don't.
You're already frustrated. You're like, I should have come out and practiced. I should have. And here I am, 5 big.
Okay, but he's
A
saying
third of my tournament is already over on a 2-day event.
that math doesn't
The
check
math
out.
does
but-
not
A quarter
check
of
out.
my tournament.
1/6 of my tournament. If it's a 2-round event, you're on hole 6.
One
yes,
third of his,
sorry.
yes.
Yeah, you're on.
My bad.
No, whatever. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I am sticking to it because if you start 5 through 5, and you're 5 over standing on the 6th tee pad, if you right then and there could make a deal to finish that round 5 over, you're taking it.
Every time.
100% you're taking it. Now you know coming into the next round, like, okay, the first 5 holes are tough. If I can come out of there 3 over, I pretty much just cut my score in half from last round. So no, if you've never seen it, no idea, anything like that, if you're already 5 over, just keep going for pars because then that's how you're going to get 8 over through 6.
Right. That's with the understanding that, like, all right, say you've got a wide open 220-foot hole, nothing in the way, no OB.
Sure.
But yeah, play for birdie, absolutely. But get on the box and think, how can I get a par on this hole? And if that means giving it your best tee shot and it gives you a putt for birdie, great. But
Yeah.
but if it means you're gonna have to stretch it and do something dumb, don't.
Yeah.
Play safe.
And it's all within reason too. Like like you said, if you walk up to a hole like hole 2 at Hammond, it's like 180 feet. There's literally one tree.
Yeah.
Just because you're saying, okay, I'm playing for pars, it doesn't mean, okay, well, I just got to jump putt 80 feet, jump putt 80 feet,
Yeah.
tap in. Like, no, if it's a safe, go for it. And if you're 40 long, you can just pitch that up and still get out of there with your par.
100%. Also practice. Why they do that?
Why did I do that? anyway, I totally completely agree. I just wanted to make sure we confirm that is that, like we always preach, the most important hole is the next hole, the one you're standing on, the
Yeah,
tee pad.
you can't do anything about those 5 at this
All right,
point.
next one comes from Philippe Sharp. No, you don't think that's come from Philip?
That's not how it's spelled.
If it was like Felipe, I'd be like, yeah, all right. It's just Philip.
Leaning forehand, learning
forehand.
Tarapisa. Learning forehand. I've been really working on my forehand, and I'm wondering if it's better to just throw my bag. No, you should probably throw the disc. Throwing your bag won't get you anywhere. Or a few similar flying discs, so I can see how I'm doing with release angle, etc. Or is there another way I'm not thinking of?
If you're learning, it's probably good to learn with a certain type of disc so that you can learn your angles a little bit better. But if once you've done that, if you're asking, should you learn to throw more than just like a couple of discs in your bag forehand? Yes, absolutely. Learn to throw as many discs in your bag with your forehand that you can. The more of those that you have, the more utility, like the more use your bag has to you if you can do that. So yeah, but to start off with, throw something that's similar so that you can understand what angles you're missing, what angles you have already. I think that's good to do.
All right, guys, remember we have our Skip Ace to talk about. This is the first time I've been to Skip Ace since he revamped the site, Johnny V. It looks outstanding.
Yeah, it looks really good, Johnny.
That
Thanks,
looks
man.
clean, man. A very nice job. So remember, the new way we're playing it this year is you're actually playing against Anthony. So Anthony made his picks, and later on in the episode, we'll talk about Anthony's pick and how well he did. If you picked better than Anthony, then you will be put into a random draw for some prizes. What do we got for Speak Pipe, Anthony?
We've got another one coming to us here from Chris.
Hey, what's going on, Disc Golf Answer Man? This is Chris from Oakland, California. One question, more about the emotional side of disc golf. For you guys, when disc golf kind of became your career more so, did you find interest in other things to be greater? Like, I know you like playing pickleball and things more a lot now. The reason I say that is I got a degree in audio engineering, and as soon as it became my job, I actually started to resent it a little bit more. So I guess I just wonder if sometimes you get a little angry about disc golf and wish you were maybe doing something else. Thanks. Keep doing what you're doing. Enjoy the rest of your podcast. Peace.
Thanks, man.
I would say he brings up an interesting point. The reason I asked this because I remember when I was working at the credit union and I wanted to do something different, and I talked to the marketing director about marketing and how I liked doing marketing, social media. And I said it was fun. And so I said, is it fun doing marketing? And she kind of said a similar sentiment in that she said, you know what? It is fun to do it. But when you have deadlines and you have to be creative, you know that you've got these campaigns and you've got to be creative. It can be a little trying sometimes.
Stifle your creativity a little bit.
So yeah, when I first started working, now of course I started out as a hobby and turned my love for media and camera work and stuff like that into a hobby that I did for disc golf. So I was doing it after my regular job, and I was trying to push myself and trying to make a name for myself. So there was a lot of intensity and a lot of drive to do it. And then, of course, the drive was to make it a full-time job. And then as it became more known as Cool Daddy Slick Breeze and more people got to know me, the drive was to get even more known, more bigger. Then I got the job at Dynamic Disc full-time, and it was like, man, yes, this is my dream job. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And there was a point where, people would ask, man, when do you get to play disc golf? And it's like, dude, when I get home, I don't want to think disc golf.
Yep.
I've thought disc golf all day. I've paid attention to what people say about disc golf. I pay attention to what players are doing in disc golf. When I get home, sometimes I want to flip a switch and just turn it off. Now, sometimes I go home and I still work disc golf. I'm still got my laptop answering emails, thinking up campaigns and figuring things out. So, yeah, there are times where, and that's why I've fallen in love with pickleball. Is because it's something active. It's something, there's camaraderie, there's community, there's other people to talk to, there's something I can try to improve upon that's not disc golf. Not that I don't love disc golf anymore. I still like disc golf. I still am looking forward to nice weather and getting out and throwing. I had fun throwing with my grandson. But pickleball is an escape for me. It's a different escape. I love going to pickleball tournaments and watching and thinking, I don't have to take pictures if I don't want to. I don't need to be knowing what's going on from a certain level, a media level, and it's relaxing for me. It's really cool.
It's pretty much the same for me. It's not that...
Except it's basket weaving for him.
Underwater, mind you. It's not that I dislike disc golf. That's not it at all. But there's a certain... It's like you said, there's a certain element of once you do something as your job, it's sometimes hard for you to do it also as your passion, right? There's a sense of obligation that comes along with it. I still enjoy playing disc golf. I haven't done it competitively in quite a while. But part of that is like Bobby said, even if you don't think about disc golf specifically, like playing disc golf all day, we're just in it, right? That's what we are concentrating on throughout the day. We're thinking about how to grow it. We're thinking about how to help people become better at it. We're thinking about how to market it. I mean, any of that stuff. And so when we get home, sometimes it's nice to just not, just think about something else like that. I think that's why I've started liking golf so much, is because I am I'm not miserably awful, but I'm just not very good at golf.
That's not what I heard.
Dude, first of all, chill. Okay.
That sounds like a biased point of view.
Yeah, right. No, I'll go shoot in the 80s, usually the high 80s, but I have
80
fun.
Over?
80 over. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Nearly 5 over per hole. Anyway, that's whatever. It's neither here nor there. No, but that's one of the reasons that I enjoy it, is because it's a new challenge. I don't currently work in it, and so it's like, hey, this is something challenging that I get to do. Same for pickleball. It's active, like Bobby said. There's a community around it. It's something that I can pick up and improve at. I still really enjoy disc golf, but yeah, once you've been in it once you've worked in it for a little while, it's hard to just leave and be like, okay, now I want to go think more about disc golf and play disc golf and analyze disc golf. Well, we still do it sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I would like to play some tournaments this year for sure, but I don't think I'll be nearly as active as I was 2 years ago.
And it's interesting that you brought this up, because just the other day I was thinking that so I went on the cruise, and then I stayed in Florida so I was gone for 12, 14 days, and I got way behind on a lot of projects. I didn't plan ahead well enough, so I decided not to go to Vegas or the Memorial. And I was relieved when I told people that I wasn't going, and everybody was like, yes, that's fine, stay and get caught up. And I was like, oh, shoo, okay, we're good to go. And I was thinking, this is nice. I'm staying home. And then I realized that was the first year in 7 years,
Yep.
7 years that I had not gone to the Memorial. The kickoff of the disc golf season, the family reunion of people that travel for disc golf, I wasn't a part of. And when I watched the videos and I saw people's story and on Instagram and things like that, I was like a little crushed that I wasn't part of that.
Yeah.
Because I
FOMO, dude.
Yeah, it was. I'm usually there. I'm usually, hugging on Terry Miller and saying, "Hey, what's up?" and talking about disc golf media. We hug, bear hug. He's the bear. He's Terry.
There's just a funny way to say
I
it.
know. Well, I mean, it's
Terror bear, man.
It's like seeing family.
But it's true.
Yeah, it's like seeing
true.
family. And then, some of the touring pros that you see on video all the time and things like that, you get to say, hey, give them a handshake, a little, fist pump or something. Even if it's top players that I just see all the time but don't really talk to them all the time,
Right.
I still get to say, hey, and how was your time off and things like that. So I missed it. So there's that still love of disc golf and the disc golf world that's there.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on. Let's go with another speak pipe.
Can I do one
We
super
got a
chat real
big
quick?
old super
Ace
chat.
Run Productions coming in hot, $14.99. He says Sargent and Sapphire are fantastic. Reviews coming soon on our channel. Thanks, Didi, for being dope. Felix, thank you, man. We really appreciate you and your support and putting reviews out of our discs. And Felix got something special from Dynamic Discs a couple weekends ago.
Oh, did he?
Because he's because he's a good dude who supports us a lot. So we sent him out a Proto Sergeant and then a Felon that you can really only get from being one of these types of supporters.
Nice.
That feel he didn't sign up for it, he didn't ask for it. He's just a real bro.
He was just being him.
He got it.
And that's what we always say. People say, "How do I get sponsored? How
Be
do I
you,
do
man.
this?" Be you.
Look,
Don't
Felix.
ask what disc golf can do for you. Ask what
you know what
can do for disc
I
golf.
believe James Bay said it best when he said, "Come on, let it go. Just let it be. Why don't you be you?"
Oh, that's right. That's my favorite.
And I'll be
Why don't
me.
You be
Bobby,
you.
I knew where he was going with
I
that.
didn't. And let me be me.
and I'll be me.
That's because I didn't know who sang the song.
James Bay.
James Bay.
Did
Why'd
you
I
think
do
it was
that?
Salt
Michael
Bay?
Yeah. No, just James.
Just James. Okay. So anyway, so guys, check it out. If you're on YouTube, which you are right now, after the show, search Ace Run Productions. Give them a subscribe. Speak pipe. I said right. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Got a going from Jake.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. Jake from Cleveland here. Wondering about disc flight numbers. So last episode, you guys were saying the new Sapphire is a high-speed driver, but it's a speed 10. Just wondering where the high-speed driver speed starts.
Where we said
Thanks, guys.
it. Because we said it.
It's okay.
I'm kidding.
If we said a high-speed distance driver, I think that's probably a bit of a misnomer. I think it is a distance driver, but it's in that spot between fairway driver and distance driver, right? So it's like in the 9, 10, 11 range. That's kind of between traditional fairway speed and traditional distance driver speed. The Sapphire is a speed 10. I would say it flies super far like a high-speed distance driver, but without the wide rim that comes along with it. That's what I would say about it.
And that's probably the thing is that they were touting it as something that you would think of as a distance driver, and so maybe the whole high speed kind of thing came out.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's faster than all of the other easy to throw discs that we have for sure.
All right, this next question comes from Travis. It's about putters. I have a special edition guard, and I love it. The only downfall I have it is how deep the rim is. Am I legally able to shave the rim down on a mill and use it in a tournament? If not, is there a similar disc to the guard only with a shallower rim?
No.
You are not allowed to modify it in such a fashion. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to say, hey, wait a minute. Don't I see people taking sandpaper and sanding off nicks and flashing and stuff like that?
Right. The wording is excessively sanding.
Exactly. So
I would say if you shave it down on a mill,
that's excessive.
it's probably going to be pretty excessive. To answer your question about what disc is similar to that, I would say the guard is probably not quite as overstable is not the right word, but it won't finish as much left as a Warden will. But
Nobody asked about your Wardens.
it's a real suggestion.
I'm kidding.
If you took a judge and put it on a mill and shaved the bead down, it would be a Warden. Okay, so you're welcome. No,
It'd be a mild judge.
I think those are pretty similar. The guard and the warden. You might also look at a mercy. I feel like the mercy is maybe a similar depth to the warden, but just has a little bit different feel. But similar flight.
I think in terms of feel, I would say the Keystone is like a shallower guard.
Yeah, feel for sure.
Definitely a more understable, kind of straighter flight.
Yes.
All right, real quick, this is Indiana Banana form check. He says, I can't remember where I heard it, but is it true that Danny is accepting form videos? If so, what's the email address? Absolutely. Danny has been accepting form videos. It is, what is it? I forgot.
DGAMform
at gmail.com.
Yep.
Yeah. So DGAMform at gmail.com. He's already been working on those, and he actually posted some or has scheduled some for the Disc Golf Management Facebook group. So that's where he's going to post his results for that as far as his feedback. He did say something interesting. He sent Robert a note that I thought kind of applies here. Can you bring up your work chat, Robert, from Danny? He says...
I can tell someone what to do to improve, but it takes practice to implement it. People know what to do for the most part. My presence wouldn't change how much work they put in.
Right. So the point is that yes, we want you to send your form in, but that doesn't mean that he's just going to give you some advice. You're going to be taken care of. You've got to practice the advice he gives you. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
All right, let's get a question, actual question here. This one is, I'm not saying that wasn't an actual question.
That was a fake question.
That's a fake question if I ever saw it. And then once we do that, we're going to give away the Birdie Fuel Harp, and then we will go on to our skip ace. This one's from Mike W. Misplaying a hole rules question. Imagine a hole with two baskets, a short and a long one. While playing a tournament, my card played to the short basket. Two of the players putted out and finished the hole, but before the rest of us made our final putch, we hear the group in front of us hollering, we were supposed to play the long baskets. This is very similar, or is it the question we had a while back?
I'm sure we've had something like it, but go ahead.
In this scenario, what would you do? Since half the card has already finished the hole, would you keep playing to the short basket and take a penalty, or start throwing to the long basket and just penalize the players who already finished the hole? Luckily, this wasn't a sanctioned tournament, and the TD allowed us to replay the hole. I would say me, if I was on the card and that was discovered, I would say the people that played it incorrectly would get penalized. And you can't penalize. Okay, so here's the thing. So I would assume that, let's say there's 4 people on the card. I would assume that everybody thought they were going to play to the correct hole. Otherwise, they would have corrected the incorrect players, right? Mm-hmm. So they would think that they're playing it correctly. You cannot hold it against the players that haven't thrown yet because they now have new information.
Right.
Because that new information should have been information that you already have, and the onus is on you to know those rules. Now, if the TD had never said anything, it wasn't in any caddy book or nothing, if it's just like he hid it from everybody, I get it. But I would imagine if he's any kind of TD, somewhere it was stated which basket to play. So they cannot be penalized because of the new information, which was information that everybody should have known from the get-go.
Right. They also can't be penalized because they haven't completed the hole yet.
Correct.
Right. Even if they did have information and they were a jerk and let you play to the wrong basket, they still couldn't be penalized because they haven't completed the hole. And there's also a difference between, all right, so say, okay, this is a philosophical difference.
Ooh.
So
you should have philosophical.
here it
Need
is
a drop
such.
for that?
Let's say that.
What'd you say?
So we need an audio drop for that.
Yes, please.
That's what I was thinking.
Boop, 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 philosophical. Okay,
I think that's it.
that was the one. We nailed it. First time. First try.
First try, Belton.
All right, so let's say this is a ridiculous course, but let's say that the short basket was like 30 feet short of the long basket. Terrible design, but whatever. And in your attempt to throw to the long basket, you made it in the short basket. You only get penalized if you walk up and take your disc out of the basket and go to the next hole. If your disc comes to rest in a different basket and you know that's not the correct one, it's a black ace, that's what we call it, but you would mark your lie under the basket and then throw to the correct basket.
It's essentially just your disc getting stuck in a tree.
Yes.
At that
So
point, right?
yes. So the problem isn't that you made it in the wrong basket. It's that you said I'm done with the hole and then removed your lie from the hole. Like I've completed the hole.
So what you're saying? So if I threw the disc into the basket,
And
then
before you took it out.
and then someone said,
Yes.
you played that wrong.
Correct.
You could say, oh, well, I'm just going to
Now,
mark
now
my
I've
lie
thrown my shot.
and play from there.
Yes.
Oh, nice. I hadn't thought about that.
I like the Chaser asked if do we have keeping it philosophical glasses? And I'm interested.
Do these count?
No, those will never count.
Not quite.
Next year, maybe.
All right, so that was our last question. Right now we're going to do our Birdie Fuel giveaway. All right, so I'm going to go to the
Noise.
Birdie Fuel form, create a spreadsheet, boom, create. Then we're going to go to random generator. Oops. Random number generator. All right, and then we've got
So far, it's just one.
2 through 89. Oh, someone got in there last minute. I better go turn that off before someone gets in there. There we go, turn it off. All right, 2 through 89. And the number is
36.
And 36 is
Joe De Leon.
Joe De Leon from Houston. No, it's the wrong place.
Hudson Oaks.
Yes, Hudson Oaks, Texas. So, Joe De Leon, congratulations. We're going to reach out to you. And no, we're just going to send this to you. We're going to send it to you because we got your address. We're going to send you this sweet tournament plastic harp from a Birdie Fuel Coffee. Thanks again, Birdie Fuel. All right, 2 more numbers. Oops, let me mark 36. Let me mark it harp. There we go. And then
Well done, Joe.
that number is 62. And 62 is, oh, they didn't give us a complete address, but they gave us an email. So we'll email you. Alex will email you one of the minis.
Alex Murdoch.
And then
One more.
number 23.
Oh, MJ. Dang.
Another incomplete address, but we'll email you Joel.
Joel Hutchings. Thanks, man.
There we go. All right, 3 given away prizes. Again, thanks to Birdie Fuel for the sweet hand-dye Birdie Fuel stamp on 2 minis and a TP, Westside Discs TP harp.
Do
Cool.
the minis smell like coffee?
They're coffee infused, I'm pretty sure.
They do not.
Is it
They
hot?
smell like, no, I'm sorry.
Ah!
Oh, they stink. No. What was I was watching a cat video. And I know what it was. They were putting food up to the cat, and he was smelling it. And then they took it away, and I was like, okay. And the cat goes,
Yeah.
So they kept doing that. Kept putting food up to his, and he'd smell it. They take the food away, and then they go, anyway. All right, Skip Ace. So, as we told you guys before, we do have a Skip Ace League. You can go skipace.com. If you're like, what the heck is Skip Ace? That is fantasy disc golf made by Johnny V himself, Smashbox TV extraordinaire. It is your way to play some fantasy disc golf. You're playing against Anthony. Anthony, what place did you get? Because I can, or is your name on here? Is it a
Yeah, you're going to have to go a
It's
few more pages there,
Facebook.
Bobby.
Yeah.
What number are you?
I finished
Go.
in 201st.
201st.
Had a solid showing.
You hate to see it. Tell
Did
us.
we talk about who you picked?
We did, yeah.
We did, yeah.
Last week.
Tell us what happened there, Anthony.
There you're Anthony.
So,
okay, you can't see your picks.
if you go to standings, you can see who everybody picked. Standings, and then select the event.
Here we go. Maybe that's what it was.
All right, Anthony,
All right, go
let's
ahead.
hear
I'm
it.
sorry.
So we had, on the FPO side, we had Evelina Salonen, solid 180 points.
Yeah, good.
I think she finished third.
That sounds
Was
right.
it?
That sounds right.
And then I went with
Third or
Paige-
fourth, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. She finished on the podium,
Yes.
or lead card, I mean. Then I had Paige Shue, who did not quite have as good of an outing as I'm sure she hoped. She gave us 30 points.
Yep.
And then on the MPO side, Double G was our big winner with 185 points.
Where did he end up placing? I forgot.
I want to say like
I can look real quick.
6th or
Sixth
8th
place?
or
Okay.
something like that. I think he was in the top 10.
What would the winner have gotten us?
250.
250 is the top points, right?
Double G 6th place. Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then Eric Oakley and Paul Ulibarri both got 104 apiece.
Tied for 24th.
Yes. And then our
AB.
AB.
where we kind of lost it was
Hey, Anthony.
AB local boy.
Why'd I do that?
Why'd you do that?
He got us a hot deuce.
Deuce.
The
Yeah.
old 2 ball, he finished in a tie for 50th. Still cashed, but
Sick.
tied for 50th.
All right, so not so good. So 200. So we're gonna plug in random generator. What 1 through 200 or
Yep.
1 through 200?
Well, do we want to? If somebody, no, I guess if somebody ties, they didn't beat me.
Correct.
Haha, in your face.
More losers.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Random generator number 32. So that's probably going to be page 1.
32 is Heckle Guy.
Heckle Guy.
All right, Mr. Guy.
All right, okay, now, in order to completely win, you have to have listened to the show. That's right. You got to listen to the show. So if you're listening right now, you'll know what to do. If you're listening right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll know right now. But if you're listening, you'll know in the next few days when you listen to the show. I need you to be signed in to your Skip Ace account. Show us your name. And Anthony, can you write that name down somewhere on the GAM notes so we can go back to it if we need to? Take a screenshot of you being logged in. Email it to bobby@dynamicdiscs.com. And then we will get you something out of my goodie stash. I don't know. There's some discs up there that I can't remember. I'll grab one and send it out to you. But you have to take a screenshot and show it to me and email me. So, yeah, in order to win, this is one of those ones you have to listen to the show. All right, do we have another one, or we got some time between? What's the next one? Waco?
Probably Waco.
Next one is Waco. Yeah,
So we've got a week between now and
All right, so we'll wait till next week to talk about the picks?
Yep.
That's
All
what I
right.
figured.
All right, cool, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man and the Skip Ace Gotta Beat Anthony edition. Always, I guess that's what it is.
So far, 200 of you have succeeded.
Yeah. Hey. Watch
to
it.
be fair, I
Watch
think that's
it.
better than we did most of the time last year. So
It's possible.
I may start picking just to see if I can beat Anthony. Just to put it in there.
You can't win.
Rico,
If I can't win your
Nico.
giveaways, you cannot win my giveaway.
If I beat Anthony, we'll give 2 discs away.
Ooh.
So double your
So
chances.
next week we'll be giving 1 disc away. What?
So
Wait, what happened?
So go to Skip Ace, put your picks in for Waco when they're available. We'll get our picks in. We'll talk about it next week. If you beat Anthony, you're in the drawing for a winning. If I beat Anthony, we will give away 2 discs, and the people that beat Anthony will be in. So you'll have, Am I saying that right? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you got
2
it.
people will have the opportunity to win. Only if I beat Anthony. So you guys have to remind me to make sure I get my picks in. All right, guys. Again, discgolfanswerman.com. Send in your disc golf questions. We appreciate it. We're going to have our disc golf hot take next. And it's Anthony, and he hasn't told us what it is. But he's been mulling it over. He's been conferencing with Danny, trying to figure out if it's a good one. So it should be a good one.
But before we go, make sure to subscribe to the Disc Golf Audio podcast series.
Make sure you tell your
Umbrella.
friends too.
On iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, wherever you consume your podcasts. Make sure and subscribe, and go ahead and throw us a 5-star rating on there if you don't mind. It helps us to show up a little bit earlier on search results for disc golf, and just honestly helps more people get better at disc golf. So go there and subscribe and give us a review of how many stars?
5.
No, wait, what was it, Anthony?
5 stars.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hang on, YouTube. Give us a minute to take a break, and we're going to come back and we'll do our disc golf hot takes. We lost 2 of you already, guys. Hang on. Just hang on.
Captain Moistbeard was cracking me up.
What's he saying?
I cannot read his comments and not laugh. He just always speaks as a pirate because, he is. So earlier he said, hold on. Let me find a good one. Make him walk the plank. That was one of them. Then he said, this guy said, is the Cutlass your favorite driver, Cap? He said, I am the captain. He just does that the whole time. And I can't laugh during the show, but I am inside. Well done, Captain.
Very good. Very
Captain. Cap. Jerome said, I heard Robert can't beat Anthony, competition thing. You can't win. Just saying. Yeah. I was talking, we had life group last night, and I was talking to them about this. If I pick up something new, right, I am either 100% in and ready to do it until I can do it okay, or I'm not interested whatsoever.
I'm either doing this once or I will be the best.
That's exactly right. It's like I quoted Andy Bernard at the time too. Like, Andy Bernard does not lose contests; he wins them. Or he quits them because they're unfair. That's me.
That is Robert's life motto.
100%. I don't, Drano, I don't know if you can give a rating on Spotify, but I know that you can on iTunes. Podcasts. Yeah, the captain was plundering the live chat, and you know what? I just loved it. I was feeling it.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Most of the time, the chat, is like, "Thank you, Mr. Drew." Laughing on the inside, dead on the outside. We did have one of those last night. Also, one of the girls there asked who was preaching this week, and I said, "Your dad is preaching this week." And she goes, "I can't tell if you're serious." I was like, "He is." She said, "I still can't tell if you're serious." I was like,
I'm gonna have to text him and ask really quick.
I don't know what else I can do here. He is, but that means that I did it. Mission accomplished. You can't read it.
That's the goal.
That's right.
That's the end game.
Oh, you can't leave reviews on Stitcher either. So just only on
iTunes.
iTunes podcasts, please. Thank you. What happens for GBO if your rating update gets higher than your pre-registered division? Are you still able to play? Thomas, you will probably be moved to the higher division, but ultimately that's up to tournament director Doug Bjerkus. If you have a question about that, you can email him at events@dynamicdiscs.com. We raid the YouTube. Oh no!
Oh.
No. Chaser, those girls were real. They're interested in disc golf. They weren't.
And they're in your area.
They weren't just saying comments from earlier that somebody else said.
What?
They must have outgrown
Those
it within a week.
the chat bots, like the girls that are like live sex chat now. That's how I assume they
like
say
a
it.
thing lately, like new. Or
Yeah,
something.
it was in here, and then they were in the
Disc Golf
Memorial
Pro Tour.
too.
But they were saying things like a live person was watching.
That's what I'm saying. They
Oh.
take someone else's, like it copies someone else's comment and puts it in there.
Oh, I didn't notice that part.
No,
Yeah.
it's real.
It's definitely real.
I think
though.
it's a real person.
Hey, maybe those people like to watch disc golf too.
Probably so.
I like how I said those people.
What do you mean
Like,
those
really?
people?
All right, here we go. You ready to record disc golf hot
I'm-
take? Oh,
I'm
wait. Let's see.
YouTube audience, if you've had a question in your mind and you're just like, you know what, I need to ask it bad, hold it until after disc golf hot takes. Maybe we can
Hold.
maybe we can get a few questions in there at the
Hold.
end. Geralda, several public events have been shut down or postponed because of coronavirus. Do you foresee any disc golf tournaments having to close down for the same reason this year? Geralda, that's something that we've considered for sure. I don't know what the probability of that happening is just yet, but it is a contingency that I think we're going to have to think about.
Who?
Joe said, those people, why they do that?
Why did you do that?
That one immediately went into the annals of history for a disc golf answer man, right alongside Malachi.
Classic.
Oh, Malachi, dude.
All right, ready? All right, we're gonna do this is brought to you by blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This episode of the Disc Golf Hot Takes is brought to you by the Westside Discs VIP X Fortress Nico Lacastro 2020 Team Series Disc. The Fortress is a combination of speed, control, and stability.
Stability.
Ready? The Fortress is a combination of speed, control, and stability. It is designed to be the workhorse for the long fairway drives, hyzers, and even flex shots. It is guaranteed that wind will not conquer your Fortress. Speed 10, glide 4, and turn 0, fade of 3. Pick yourself up a Westside Disc VIP X Fortress.
Do it.
Do it. All right. All right, so this week's Disc Golf Hot Take was Eric McCabe's choice. But Eric McCabe is out on assignment doing some course design work, stuff he loves to do. If you guys are looking to design a course or have someone design a course, make sure you check out dynamiccoursedesign.com or email coursesales@dynamicdiscs.com and get something started. So Anthony is filling in for our disc golf hot take. He has not told us what it is. Now remember, guys, I have to remind you, and we'll keep reminding you for a little bit. The disc golf hot take is just that. It's a hot take. It's designed to cause controversy. It's designed to cause discussion. It may be based on reality. It may not be based on reality.
For instance, I don't really think that the rec division should have mulligans.
None of us thought that.
But I love the
But we-
idea.
yes. So I know it got a lot of you kind of worked up, which is part of the point. But anyway, so that is a disc golf hot take. That being said, Anthony, what's your hot take?
Anthony.
Okay. We all want to grow the sport, right? We all want more people to play disc golf, find out about disc golf, watch disc golf, all that stuff. As a way to do that, we need to scrap, and I mean take baskets out of Idlewild, Delaware, like Iron Hill, any of those incredibly wooded courses, get them out. They are not spectator friendly. They're not media friendly. Huge galleries cannot fit. It's hard to get those crowds. You can't do it. We need to have more courses like Country Club, Vegas, Memorial, things like that, where guess what? You look in the background, what do you see? Hordes of people, crowds of people. There's people everywhere. You can have 1,000 cameramen. You can have galleries in the tens of thousands. They might not be the most exciting form of disc golf to watch for some people. Some people love watching Simon Eagle crush huge hyzers. Some people like watching people shape shots. To grow the sport, we need to get it in front of the most eyes possible, as quickly as possible, in the most easy to digest way. The way to do that is with more open style ball golf courses.
I'm going to agree with him, but from a different standpoint. I'm going to agree with him because I am sick of hearing people say, oh, they should be playing wooded courses. Oh, that's just open style course. Oh, that's just hyzer. I am so sick of hearing people say that.
All the people who talk like that sound like idiots.
I know.
Just based on your impression.
That's what
from-
they sound like.
Hyzer.
Hyzer. No, I would say yeah. I mean, especially when I enjoy a nice disc golf tournament, and then I look in the comments and people say that they're like, oh, they need to come play such and such, or they need to come play such and such. That's a real course. That's technical course. That's real skill. I'm so sick of that.
Both of you guys suck. So okay. First of all, this is a hot take. So I'm just going to hope and pray that Anthony doesn't truly believe this. Okay. I'm just, for the sake of everybody here, I believe that in my heart. Don't tell me otherwise. Okay. Because this is what it comes down to. Open golf is fun. It's entertaining. I love watching it. But I don't think it's as true of a test as something in the woods where you have to hit lines, right? All right. So here we are out in the wide open. If every tournament is played in the wide open, hold on.
Are we out here to test skill, or are we out here to grow the sport?
I am advocating for having open courses. We need some open courses. But there's a different skill set that goes into winning on an open course than there does winning on a wooded course.
You could say that same thing. If we put a bunch of trees in a basketball court, LeBron James isn't going to be doing the things that he did.
That's what you think.
Like,
No, I understand what you're saying. But all right, so this is what I'm getting at. We go to play a wide open course, right? No trees in the way whatsoever. If you miss your shot by 2 degrees, it's probably the difference between being parked and being 15 feet away, 20 feet away, 30 feet away, depending on the hole. That kind of sucks because people who threw technically a better shot than yours will probably still end up with the same score. However, if you're in the woods and you miss by that same 2 degrees, sometimes that's the difference between birdie and double bogey, depending on how off your shot was.
okay.
So what I'm arguing is that wooded courses require more precision. They aren't so power heavy, so it's just the longest throwers. You can take advantage of your power in the woods, but you have to do it carefully because there are more risks to take in. I favor wooded courses over open ones every day of the week.
Well, if wooded courses makes someone that much better of a player, which I've heard people say, then why isn't Michael Joe winning every NT or major that he plays in? I mean, that's everybody says that is his strength, right?
Yeah. But if you get into the woods, like that's where he thrives. But he just can't
Right,
throw
but if
quite
he's-
as
but if
far
he's-
as the big dogs.
So then you're saying he's not the best disc golfer.
I didn't say he was the best disc golfer, or disc golfer. Dang it, Bobby.
But I mean, that's
I'm
what
not saying he's the best disc golfer, but I am saying he's
right, I'm
a
not
very
saying
good
he's not
disc
the
golfer.
best, but he's not winning all kinds of tournaments.
He's a
I
very
mean, he
good
wins
disc
some, but
golfer.
not-
He's a very good disc golfer who can shape shots in the woods better than almost anybody else. So if you're playing in the woods, that's a different skill set that he possesses.
Sure.
I like that. I like having people have to prove both. That's why, for me, I love the 2018 Worlds. It was out at Brewster Ridge and Fox Run Meadows. Brewster Ridge is almost all in the woods, pretty tight woods. You have to navigate it well, or you could easily get big numbers. And then the other portion on Fox Run Meadows, a little bit more. It's not wide open by any means, but a little bit more open. Room for the bigger arms to make their impact just based on the distance that they have. I love that mix of courses. I would love to have a mix more than only open courses forever.
So Magnus brings up a good point. The argument
on.
was growing the sport, not if wooded courses are more technical or even if wooded courses are more enjoyable to watch. We're talking about how do we get more spectators in there? We can't do that at wooded courses. How do we get more spectacular shots? People love. I mean, okay, yes. Watching a shot through a wooded course is nice to watch, but that's why you have distance competitions, because people love them big open shots. They love watching that, and people get amazed. When Simon threw that shot on hole 9 at GBO, they were amazed. That made it everywhere, right? That was on a big open. That was not Jones is not a huge open wood course, but it's a much more open course than some of these wooded courses that were mentioned. That's what we need to grow the sport. Is these open courses for more spectators and more spectacles as far as shots.
Robert?
Your rebuttal?
Yeah, this is where you talk.
No, I would say 100% having those bigger shots on display. Yeah, that's cool to see, but it's not a true test of all that disc golf is.
We're not talking about testing. We're talking about growing.
That's not a true test of what disc golf is. I would say if people are only watching open courses, then they're getting the wrong idea of what disc golf is across the board. Like if you walk out to a wide open course, yeah, maybe you don't hit as many trees, maybe you don't have as much fun, but there's not a whole lot of challenge to that all the time unless it's super windy, right? There's a certain element of challenge that comes with wooded courses that you just can't duplicate on an open course. You just can't do it.
Someone says, I don't necessarily think that more open or more people in the gallery equals growing the sport. So here's to that point. Anytime I'm putting together stuff for promos, and I'm sure I'm not the only editor that has this, you look for the shots that have a lot of people in it, because when you have people like Coca-Cola or Visa or anything like that looking at stuff, they're going to want to see that. They're going to want to look at it and go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people that actually come out to watch this sport. That must mean people are into this sport, and that'll get us more views. So, no. Directly having more people out there may not grow the sport in a sense that just because you have more people, but when it looks on a grand scale like that, that's going to get more eyes thinking, wow, how do I get even more eyes on this? Or there must be a lot of eyes on this, so I want to get behind it.
Yeah, if you have more people, I don't get how that's not growing the sport.
Right.
If there's more people than before.
Sure. I agree. Having more people in galleries is helpful. Of course, everyone wants to have bigger galleries. Having people cheer makes it feel more legitimate. But I would argue that if you are brand new, because this is what we're talking about, we want to grow disc golf, so we are catering to brand new disc golfers, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just anyone.
Okay. First time.
Am I romantic? There you go.
First time disc golfer goes to watch a disc golf video, and he watches a 500-foot wide open shot, and he watches a 380-foot shot that snakes through the woods. I guarantee he thinks the 380 shot is more impressive because he has...
Oh, I so disagree.
No. Because he has no concept for how hard either shot is. But he does know, he or she, mind you, does know that there are obstacles in the way and that disc worked to the right and then worked back to the left or vice versa to get close to the basket. If he's just throwing the disc a long way, it's like, wow, that was in the air for a long time. But you don't have any concept of how far that is until you've thrown it. If you're watching it go through trees... then you can say, wow, that was a lot of obstacles to avoid.
Like you just said, until you've thrown it. That is fine until they go to their local store, play it again, website, whatever, buy a disc, and throw it 80 feet. And then they're like, whoa, how did Simon throw it 600 feet? Whereas if they watch Paul make an 80-foot putt, they're like, well, yeah, I can throw a disc 80 feet. If I do it enough times, it'll go in.
Sure.
But no matter how hard I try, I can't throw over and over and over and just one time, 500 feet.
I am always going to advocate for more wooded golf because it requires you to be more precise with your shots when possible. Now, there's some places where wooded golf just isn't possible, and in those places, in those places, wait, do we need to edit
Auto's
out?
in the left.
I can fix it in post.
Okay, sorry. Edit, cut.
Chop.
You can't always have an open course, or you can't always have a wooded course. Like, you cannot just have trees. You can plant them, you can wait for years, that's fine. But where there are courses that naturally have wooded terrain, taking courses out of there to say this is the only type of golf that would make people more interested, I have to oppose that 100%.
It's not about more interested. If I show my mom a video of Simon throwing 600 feet, she's going to be like, wow, that went far. But if I show her a video of whoever, MJ, Heiser flipping something through the woods, she's going to be like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same appreciation.
It's the wow factor to, get them hooked, get them into it, and say, I want to throw that far.
My wow factor is look how they worked that disc through all those trees.
Okay,
like it worked two ways.
You are coming at it from someone who's been playing disc golf for 10 plus years. You know that it's hard to do that shot.
All right, guys. So Anthony poses the hot take that we should take out wooded courses to grow the sport so we can have bigger galleries and more spectacles as far as shots. We're going to post this on Facebook, the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group. We want to get your take on it. Put the comments under the post and let us know what your take is on not whether wooded courses are more technical and make you a better player, but would having less wooded courses and more open courses on front and center stage be better for the sport? We'll see you guys in the next Disc Golf Hot Take.
Also, I was right. Bye.
I give points to myself.
Dang it. Self points.
Are we staying live doing an
Just for
after
a minute,
show?
maybe.
Okay. Then I very much don't agree with that.
Of course.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. I mean, I said that just for the sake of.
Yes. I far prefer woods golf. No?
Oh.
It's just left only.
You're paused. So that'll do it.
Yeah, if you paused your stream, we're not
Yeah,
going to.
No, I knew that. I
okay.
was expecting that to be read, but yeah, because I paused.
Okay, it's actually funny that Joe says this in the chat because that was another hot take that I had.
Anthony has now been traded to Innova.
Yes.
That was a hot take.
I was going to say that we should be able to trade players or like disc molds or like
Dude,
products.
That is a great hot take.
We want Paul Macbeth. Discraft can have the Justice.
I like
we
that.
We get Paul.
I think that's super cool.
Okay, well, now I ruined it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't tell Eric.
So we're going to do an after show? What are we going to do it on?
I mean, just like what people are saying in the chat, just for a couple of minutes.
Yes, Greldick deck.
Your softest opinion since Ye Animal Hot Take.
On video distances.
What did he say?
Your softest opinion since Ye Animal Hot Take.
Doc, will you tell me what you mean here? You said, will you take the commentary with Val, Jamie, I think's class on how to pronounce them names? What? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
There must have been some.
Drano says you guys should find a hot take you actually agree with. It would spark some more electric discussion. Sometimes we will. We just haven't really yet.
I think the trading players thing would actually be cool.
Yes.
I don't know how it would work.
Yeah, that's
Killed
true.
the audio? We better not.
Anthony is no longer on a hit list.
I made it.
That was pretty solid. I think points to Anthony for actually picking a hot take and defending a point he doesn't agree with. Like we've all done that.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Well, unless there's any questions here on the chat, we are going to Oh, Jamie was saying those foreign names so well. Yeah, Doc, I think he did a great job.
Johnny, what's going on with the audio? Is
can y'all hear anything at all or no?
for some reason the Sling Studio Hub decides to only come out of the left. The audio decides to come out only the left channel. And we thought it was the cable, so we bought a new cable. That's not it. So, and we feel like anytime we mess with the connection from the cable to the Sling Studio Hub, it fixes it somehow, or all of a sudden it'll just start working or not working. So it's got to be something internally in the Sling Studio
Look,
Hub.
Johnny, I'm not going to touch anything. I haven't been touching anything, and it's just.
Yeah, the Sling
now
Studio
it's
is
working?
behind Anthony's computer.
He said, "Why does it keep messing up?" So I'm guessing
Yeah.
it came back and then is now left again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you take the class on how to say player names. Jamie and Val nailed European player names. I feel like I do pretty solid on European player names. So, whatever. Joe, y'all coming to Waco? We are not. Not this year.
Texas State's.
Yeah, we'll be down at Texas State's in Tyler. I might be. These guys definitely will be.
Texas State's, yeah, all three of us will be there. All three of us will be there.
Tyler. Will the sergeant be out before GBO? Yes, sir. Mr. Drew, it will. You'll have a shot at it soon. Drano says Anthony's hair is slept on. I 100% agree. I think Anthony's hair is fantastic, and I have told him such many times.
I'll pay you after the show.
Also, we go to the same barber.
Yes.
So,
Shout out Carlos.
yeah, he knows.
How many backup discs are needed for OP practice rounds? All of them.
Bring a lot, honestly. It depends on how confident you are at throwing like 340, 350 into the wind.
And just how aggressive you want to be, too.
Yeah, you can play safe on most of those holes. Not really 18, but most everything else. Chaser, based on the rapid sales, any chance of another run of Lucid X Wardens?
For sure.
Probably not in the form that you saw them this time,
They're going to be square.
Yeah, 4D,
but in a different form, yes.
Triangle.
digital only.
Chaser, disregard them and listen to me. Trust me, you are going to be. It's worthwhile.
AJ hand delivers all of them?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
that is correct.
I think the most incredible marketing thing that he ever did was at GBO last year when he actually made waffles
Just
for
sold
$1
waffles.
I just sold them.
and sold
Made
waffles.
no money whatsoever. Just made waffles.
No, he sold them for $1.
What?
Oh,
I'm-
okay. He made yes, he made. Yeah, you're
He
right.
did not
made
make any money.
off
He
of
lost
it.
money for sure.
Right, but I mean the whole thing of selling waffles because of his waffle warden was amazing.
What do y'all think of the new DGPT times for ladies and such? I talked with Jeff Spring a little over the week and then emailed him today.
Oh, wow. Look at me.
We hang out all the time.
I said I talked with him. Okay. Anyway, and I told him I thought the coverage was fantastic.
Yeah.
I
told Johnny B that.
I love the format. I was a little concerned that once the MPO rounds finished, that viewership would drop off a lot, and it dropped off some for sure. But I think it does do a good job of keeping a bigger captive audience than before.
Yes.
So across the board, I think it was awesome. I think Jamie and Nate and Val did a great job. There's some people that, everyone has their complaints and opinions about commentary and what it should be and what it shouldn't be. And man, until you do it, it's really hard to say exactly what you can do, right? In the moment, it's much different than just sitting not with a camera on you and talking about disc golf. So big time props to them for offering their insights and keeping the broadcast going. I think they do a good job.
I think the best part about it is that now you can watch essentially both rounds in what was it, a 4, maybe 5 hour block?
Yeah, something like
instead
that.
of 2, 3 to 4 hour blocks. It was, I was very impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Sam says, I've noticed recently my drivers and mids are going about the same distance likely causes. Sam, check if you're throwing nose up. That's usually the culprit. Johnny said viewership dropped about 50% each day after MPO, but was still getting 2 to 3 times more than what FPO was last year. Yeah. So even at GBO, we were in the low thousands, 2,000s, something like that, for most of the time. And I want to say I saw FPO this year 4 or 5.
Yeah.
A decent amount of the time.
Was it in years past? Was it 2 separate streams as well? Did
Yes.
Have,
Yeah.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. Because I know I would turn it on and then I just would leave it on. And if I have to go in the kitchen to get a drink or make some lunch or whatever, I would just come back and it was on. If I had to run to the store or something, I would just leave it playing, and it was still there.
I'm interested in so it's either Railford or Rolliford, probably Railford. Says I would have liked a little less overlap between MPO and FPO just because it was easy to miss a lot of what was happening between the two, but it was nice to have it all together. I agree with you, but for the sake of time, I liked having some overlap just because it's much easier to digest 1 5-hour broadcast than 2 separate 4 hours or 2 3.5 hours.
Smooth Angel, the discs on the table are the Latitude 64 Team Series discs, either Opto X. We have Albert, is it Tom or Tam?
Albert Tom.
Tom.
I'm not a machine. It's just me, Albert.
He has the Recoil.
This is Sports Center.
Keith has the Opto X Explorer. Johnny McRae has the Opto X Fuse, and Kristen Tatar has the Opto X Pure. And these are all going to be available in the next couple of weeks.
Next Thursday.
So you'll be able to purchase these online. I think actually the stores will have them starting next.
Yeah, they'll have them soon.
Yeah, very soon, and they'll be able to purchase them in store.
Drew said, how proud of Eric Oakley are you guys? I feel like he did so well at the Memorial. Yeah, he's had a good start to the year.
We're always proud of Eric Oakley.
He's playing well this year. I like it. Jerome, any updates to getting some old school players on the call? I'd love to hear from the Berries and McCraes. Yeah, I'd like to talk to all sorts of people on the call. It just so happens that to start off with, it's been players who have done something in the moment, or during the off season, it's players that we had available, where I could talk to them about something pertinent to what they'd been doing. But yeah, I mean, I've already had Calvin on. There's a pretty good chance, I would talk to him again in a heartbeat because I like Calvin. But sometimes we'll seek out the winners of events. Sometimes we'll seek out players who kind of came up and made a big splash, like we did Emerson, like we did Tristan, things like that. But yeah, I'd love to get some of the older school players out there. Rolliford, there you go.
I like that he says he also answers to Josh.
Yeah. William, the audio is doing well to the very end. That's it. I think we're pretty good to go, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much on the YouTube for joining us and sticking with us. For those of you who are still here, thanks for joining us or sticking with us until the very end. We will be back next Tuesday for another episode of Disc Golf Fantasy Man and the Disc Golf Hot Takes, and it will be Robert's turn for the hot take, so it'll probably be stupid. We'll see you guys next time.
It won't be stupid. It will be awesome.
I just disagree with it on principle.
I already disagree. Points to everybody else.